everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome to my channel. If you are brand new, I am so glad that you're here. I am full of cat hair. We just were at the vet with my kitty cat. So that's why the stream times got a little bit late today. Welcome back to my subscribers and to my members. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm so glad to have you here. You guys were really... we did a story about a month ago, or maybe a few weeks ago, maybe, I don't even know. All the days blend together. It was towards the end of December, about a couple in Idaho who had a couple missing children, Lori and Chad Daybell. And many of you have been asking for a follow-up. Well, until today, there wasn't anything to report. And then I got word from one of my subscribers through the East Idaho News that Chad and Lori Daybell have been located in Hawaii. That's right. So if you're new to the story, Chad and Lori Daybell are being, they have been avoiding authorities in Idaho into a missing persons case for two of Lori's children. Her 7-year-old son, JJ, and her 17-year-old daughter, Tyree, have not been seen since September of 2019. Family members reported and actually called a welfare check into the children in November when they hadn't heard from JJ. His grandparents actually made the call. They had weekly Skypes and FaceTimes with JJ, and they hadn't seen or heard from him in weeks. During that same time, Chad's wife, Tammy, who he had been married to for almost 30 years, 28 years, 29 years, suddenly passed away. Not only that, but in her sleep of natural causes. It was during the investigation of that natural death of Tammy that the authorities in Rexburg, Idaho, determined that there could be a connection between two missing children, Tylee and JJ, and Tammy's death. Shortly after the death of Tammy, Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell, Lori Vallow, got married. And interestingly, in July, during a pickup by her husband Charles, Lori Vallow's brother Alex, in a dispute with him, killed Charles. So there is a litter of people that are gone, and the couple, who has a unique belief system and is preparing for the end of time, has a lot of people wondering, where are JJ and Tylee? Now, when authorities in Idaho went to execute a search warrant, I think November, the house was empty and they had fled. And so, since November, they had no idea where they were. Well, yesterday, they were located in Kauai, in Hawaii. Apparently, Lori had ties to Hawaii. She and her husband Charles had moved there in 2014 and stayed there for a couple years before moving back to the mainland. According to the East Idaho Times, Chad and Lori Daybell did not have, when they were approached by the East Idaho News, they did not speak. But here's what happened. They were pulled over by Kauai police officers around 3:30 p.m. local time as they were driving a black Ford Explorer along the Kauai Highway. They entered the parking lot of the Kauai Beach Resort, and police served them with a search warrant for their vehicle. And then they also were told that federal and eastern Idaho law enforcement officers assisted with this, and East Idaho News was on the scene at that same time. She was actually put into a police SUV at one point, and Chad Daybell waited in another. And then after 30 minutes, apparently a tow truck took the car away, and they had no way to leave. Police then went into the townhome that they're staying in Princeville, Hawaii, and executed a search warrant on the property. So their cars were searched, their persons were searched, and their home that they're staying at in Hawaii has been searched as well. They had been living in a gated community in Hawaii for several months, and according to the law enforcement, again, this is from East Idaho News, Lori's children, 7-year-old JJ Vallow and 17-year-old Tyree Ryan, have been missing since the end of September. Police say that they refused to tell them where the children are and lied to investigators about their location. At one point, Chad Daybell told people that Tyree had passed away. So there's a lot going on. Of course, when the reporter from East Idaho News was trying to get them to speak to them, they were literally like, she looked like, Tamara Judge from the Desperate House, or from like Real Housewives. Like, she could not be bothered. Apparently she had a large stash of cash in a plastic bag in her car. And when they were asking questions, they just stoically kept walking forward. Chad appears to have lost a considerable amount of weight while they've been in Hawaii. And the only thing that she said was, when the reporter said, "There's a lot of people praying for you and want to know where your children are," and she said, "That's great." That's all she said. "That's great." So, Rexburg Police Department released this statement earlier today on their Facebook page. They said, "The Rexburg City Police and the Madison County, Idaho Prosecutor's Office can confirm that a child protection action has been filed on behalf of Tyree Ryan and JJ Vallow. Child protection actions are normally confidential and sealed to protect the anonymity of the parties. However, the Madison County Prosecutor's Office has obtained an order from the court on the case allowing us to unseal and disclose the following: the existence of the child protection order action and an order from the court requiring that Lori Vallow to physically produce Tyree and JJ to the Idaho Department of Health and Human Welfare in Rexburg, Idaho, or to the Rexburg Police within 5 days of being served with the order. We can confirm that Lori Vallow was served with the order in the city of Princeville on the island of Kauai, Hawaii on Saturday, January 25th by the Kauai Police Department, and that Chad was with her. We can further confirm that Tyree and JJ were not with Lori and Chad, and there was no evidence that Tyree and JJ were ever in Hawaii. Failure to comply with this order may be subject Lori Vallow to civil or criminal contempt of court." Then they said the Madison County Prosecutor's Office asked the court for permission to unseal and disclose the existence of the child protection action and above mentioned order to alert the public and anyone with knowledge of the location or health and safety of the children. All other documents related to the child protection case remain under seal. We can also confirm that during the afternoon of January 26th, the Kauai Police Department served a search warrant on the vehicle and the person of Chad and Lori Vallow. Finally, we would like to thank the Kauai Police Department and the Kauai Prosecutor's Office for their invaluable help and assistance they have provided us in this investigation. And then the Kauai Police Department updated theirs earlier today, and they said the Kauai Police Department is assisting the Rexburg Police Department in regards to an action case pertaining to the missing children of Lori Vallow. Two of her children, 17-year-old Tyree and 7-year-old Joshua Vallow, have been missing since the end of September 2019. Vallow and her husband Chad have been staying on Kauai for an unconfirmed period of time. On January 25th, the Kauai police served Vallow with an order of petition in an attempt to have her physically produce her children to the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. On January 26th, Kauai Police and Rexburg Police executed a search warrant in the support of the ongoing investigation related to the whereabouts of the two children. There are no local charges or any current warrants or arrests. And they said KPD desired to continue to assist the Rexburg Police in whatever way we can with their efforts to locate the missing children. It is our sincere hope that the children will have a safe return. The investigation remains ongoing, and then they have phone numbers of where to call. And then Kay Vallow Woodcock, who is the grandmother actually of JJ, shared the press release on her Facebook. She and her husband have been outspoken and actually offered a $20,000 reward only a few weeks ago for the safe return or for information about the location of JJ and Tyree. So JJ and Tyree have been missing since September 29th. it's quite a sordid tale, but there's a lot of players that are involved in this. Now, there's been some allegations of a involvement with sort of a, I don't know, offshoot of the Mormon Church, which is involved, but it's not. Apparently, Chad was kicked out of the Mormon Church, and he's written a lot of books about like near-death experiences, and he and Lori met in 2018 while working on a podcast around these topics of preparing for the next coming of Christ. It was during that time that her family says that she got more involved into this cult, they call it, and she started exhibiting bizarre behavior. And in February of 2019, Charles Vallow, Lori's husband, actually filed for divorce. Now, her divorce decree, or her divorce petition, in it, he was requesting physical custody of JJ. And here's some little tidbits of what's actually in this, and give you an idea of what Charles' concerns were for JJ at the time. He said, they wrote in the divorce documents, Lori Vallow has recently become infatuated, at times obsessive, about near-death experiences and spiritual visions. Mother has told Father Charles that she is a sealed, internally married to the ancient Book of Mormon prophet Moroni, and that she has lived numerous lives on numerous planets prior to this current life. She also believes that she's married to James the Just in a past life, and also lived as Mary French in the 1800s, who was Joseph Smith Jr.'s natural grandmother. Mother also informed Father that she is a translated being who cannot taste death, sent by God to lead the 144,000 onto the millennium. Mother believes that she is receiving spiritual revelations and visions to help her gather and prepare those children to live in the New Jerusalem after the Great War is prophesied in the Book of Revelations. On January 29th, 2019, during a phone conversation between the parties and after their physical separation, Mother informed Father that she was a god assigned to carry out the work of the 144,000 at Christ's second coming in July of 2020, and that if Father got in her way of her mission, she would kill him. The next day, Father was on a business trip in Houston, and during another phone conversation, she kept referring to Father as Nick Schneider instead of Father's name. Father asked who Nick Schneider was, and Mother told him that Nick was the father's real name because Nick had killed Father and taken his identity. Mother proceeded to warn Father that she would kill him upon his return home, and that had an angel there to help her dispose of the body. She also mentioned that she could not trust Father, and that she would not only kill him but would destroy him financially. Since that conversation, Mother's communications with Father have been rare and intermittent. So, if you want to understand sort of a timeline of this case, the East Idaho News actually has a really good interactive one. And so here, this is like super confusing, but obviously her beliefs, and she believed that there was going to be a second coming in 2020, and if he stood in the way, she was going to harm him. Well, ultimately, he was killed by her brother Alex in July when Charles went to go pick JJ up for custody. According the investigation for Charles' death is it was deemed an accident, but now authorities in Arizona are saying that they are going to reopen that investigation because Alex, Lori's brother, mysteriously was found killed in December of 2019, and his death is still under investigation. So the timeline, I know this is a confusing story, but Chad and Tammy Daybell marry in 1990. They marry at the Utah Latter-day Saints Temple, and they started Spring Creek Book Company in 2004. Charles and Lori Vallow marry in Las Vegas in 2006, and they marry after she divorces her third husband, Joseph Ryan Jr., the father of Tylee. And then in 2014, Charles and Lori Vallow moved their family to the island of Kauai in Hawaii before returning to the mainland a couple years later. They actually adopt JJ, and this is the confusing part because there's been these two people, Kay and Larry Woodcock, that continue to call him their grandson? Well, that's because Charles and Lori adopted Joshua, and Charles' great grand nephew. So Joshua's biological father is actually the son of Kay and Larry Woodcock. So apparently Joshua's father was unable to keep him for whatever reason, and Charles, being his great uncle, decides to adopt him. So he still remains within the family, and JJ has level 2 autism. The Daybells moved to Idaho in 2015. Chad and Tammy moved the family to Salem from Springville, Utah, after he hears a voice saying that he needs to move to the area. In April of 2018, her ex-husband, Lori's ex-husband, the father of Tylee Ryan, Joseph Ryan, he passes away from a heart attack. And then on December 5th of 2018, Chad and Lori make a podcast appearance. They first appear together on the Preparing of People's podcast, Time to Warrior Up. From February 2019 through March 2019, families say that Lori disappears for 58 days, leaving the kids with family members, and it remains unclear where she was. Charles files for divorce on February 8th, 2019. Charles files for divorce and says that Lori had threatened to kill him and stole more than $35,000. He later changed his mind, wanting to make the marriage work. Lori's niece then asks her husband for a divorce in May of 2019. Lori's niece, Melanie Boudreau, asks her husband, Brandon, for a divorce. Brandon Boudreau believes this is related to Melania's new religious beliefs with Lori. And then in July 11th, 2019, Charles Vallow is shot and killed by Alexander Cox, Lori's brother. That happened in a rental home in Chandler, Arizona. JJ's grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, have their last video call from Joshua on August 10th, 2019. They said they received a 36-second fake FaceTime call, making it the last time they spoke with him. Lori leaves the state of Arizona. The landlord of the home where she lived on August 31st, told East Idaho News that she left with the kids on August 31st, 2019, and it's presumed that Lori and the kids moved to Rexburg. She enrolls JJ into Rexburg School. The principal at Kennedy Elementary says that he started on September 3rd, 2019. And then the last time they're seen is on September 23rd, 2019. JJ was last seen at his school, Kennedy Elementary, and his sister Tylee Ryan was also last seen in September. On September 24th, the principal at Kennedy Elementary says Lori Daybell came to the school to disenroll Joshua. He recalls she said she would be homeschooling her son. And then on October 2nd, Brandon Boudreau says someone shoots at him. He was reportedly shot at a Gilbert, Arizona, at an individual driving a Jeep registered to now dead Charles Vallow. Boudreau tells the media that he believes his wife is trying to kill him. Tammy Daybell calls 911 on October 9th. The wife of Chad Daybell, says that she was shot at with a paintball gun at her home in Salem, Idaho. The masked assailant ran away before deputies arrived. They used Tylee Ryan's Venmo account was last used on October 10th, 2019, according to her half-brother, Colby Ryan. And then Tammy passes away only 10 days later. She dies at her home in Salem. Officials initially thought she died of natural causes, but they're now calling it suspicious. She's buried on the 22nd of October. A friend of Tylee gets a text from her on October 25th, 2019, but they doubt that she was the one who sent it. And then on November 2019, they get married, Lori and Chad. So less than 2 weeks after his wife passes away, he and Lori get married, possibly in Hawaii within weeks of the death. And then the Boudreau's divorce is finalized in November of 2019. In November 2019, police say that Chad and Lori Daybell told witnesses that Tylee had died years ago, and Chad was reportedly saying that Lori had no minor children. On November 14th, Melanie Boudreaux is arrested. Police in Utah arrest Melanie Boudreaux for allegedly trespassing on Brandon Boudreaux's parents' property. They do a welfare check on November 26th. The Rexburg police attempt to conduct a welfare check for JJ at the townhouse on Pioneer Road. That marks the last time police speak with the Daybells in person. Family who had not spoken with JJ asked for the welfare check. And then they execute the search warrant on the 27th the next day, and the Daybells have left abruptly. The brother of Lori, Alex Koch, he gets married on November 29th. Melanie remarries on November 30th. She marries Rexburg resident Ian Pawlowski in Clark County, Nevada. In July, Pawlowski divorced his wife. And then they exhume Tammy's body on the 11th of December, and they call her death suspicious. And then her brother dies on December 12th. Alex Cox mysteriously dies in Gilbert, Arizona. The cause of his death is unknown, and they have not said a thing about what happened. And then they announce the search for the kids on the 20th. So it's been a wild few months, and it's clear that they are now named persons of interest as for the missing children. Chad is also named as a person of interest in Tammy's death. On December 23rd, their attorney, Sean Bartholic, says that Chad is always a loving husband and has the support of his children in this matter. Lori Daybell is a devoted mother and resents assertions to the contrary. We look forward to addressing the allegations once they move beyond speculation and rumor. And then by the end of December, they still haven't found her. They believe that Lori knows something. They do a search warrant on her house on January 30th, 2020. And then on January 7th, Kate and Larry Woodcock announced the $20,000 reward. And then Chad's brother, Matt Daybell, publicly speaks out for the first time with East Idaho News, and he calls his brother to cooperate with investigators. And then Lori Vallow's son, Colby, has done 3 videos on YouTube, and his last video is directed directly towards his mom, asking that she come forward because she would be the only one that knows anything about the whereabouts of the children. So at this point, it's kind of unclear why the authorities have waited so long. And why they wouldn't be arrested. It's clear that the parents have lied about where the children are. It's clear that the children are not with them. And if none of their family members know, and there's other people around them that are now gone, I would say that when the FBI issued a missing persons announcement for them, they stated that the children were considered to be in danger. Without them there with them, I wonder what is taking them so long to actually bring them in for questioning and figure out what's going on. I know that they haven't found any bodies, but at the same time, JJ's 7. How can you have a child missing for 4 months and a parent not cooperating and nothing is being done? This whole thing is so bizarre. I've been told by numerous subscribers that live in this area that this is typical for police there. I don't know anything about it, but they say that it's kind of a good old boys club, and I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but it's shocking to me how lackadaisical this has all been. Like, oh, the kids are missing. Oh, no big deal. Oh, so they disappeared to Hawaii. Now they're in Hawaii, and they finally have this order from the court. So she has to turn them over within 5 days, and then if she doesn't, she can get criminal or civil contempt. But that's like nothing. Have you ever looked into what civil and criminal contempt is? I guess that would be a way to be like actually bringing her in and forcing her to talk into an interview. But at what point, if she's unwilling to talk and say what happened, at what point do you declare these children gone? You know, they're nowhere to be found, and everyone else around them is gone. I think it would be fair to assume that they are gone too. And all of it seems to circle around their belief system that they are preparing for the second coming, and Lori believes she's a god, and they have to do all of these things, and that it doesn't matter who they have to kill along the way. This is mostly the craziest story I think I've ever seen. And I know a lot of you have been wanting an update. So that is what I have for you today. JJ is 7, Tyree is 17. How can kids be missing for this long and nobody does anything? It floors me. I mean, the timeline, yes, she pulls him out, and then the next day she says she's going to homeschool him. So does that mean that that's the last time? Maybe maybe something actually happened that day that she pulled him out. I mean, nobody has seen Tylee since September. All right. So I will keep my eyes and ears open. If you are from the area, if you know anything, if you have connections to any of these people, let me know. Reach out to me on social media. I'm always willing. I'm considering reaching out to Lori, Kay Vallow Woodcock, to see if she would like to talk with me. I don't know if she will. I'm sure she gets a lot of media requests. This is a crazy case. And these grandparents just need to know what happened to their grandson. I feel terribly for them. And Colby, her son, her older son, he just wants to know where his siblings are. And all of them say that she changed overnight when she got involved with Chad and got invested in this crazy belief system. So we'll see how the cards play, and we'll have to figure out why and where, and at what point will they be held criminally responsible. All right, you guys. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. They did exhume Tammy's body, and they did do toxicology reports and more testing, I guess, on her tissues. And apparently that will take several weeks for any of the for any of those reports to come back. But based on the timeline, police have now classified her death moved her classification of Tammy's death from natural to suspicious, and they've listed Chad as a person of interest. So that's where we're at today. I'm sorry I don't have any news about the kids. I'm hoping that we can somehow get a resolution at some point. But these are the kinds of stories that I know that you guys care about, and so I will continue to keep you posted as I learn more. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me, and if you have anything to share or any comments, make sure you do so in the comments, and make sure to check me out on social media over here. Give this video a thumbs up, please, before you go, and also if you haven't yet subscribed, please subscribe to my channel if you want to continue to follow this story. All right, you guys, I'll be back in a little while.